You know how I've been talking lately about MAGA being dead? About how the coalition the president built back in 2024 has collapsed and nothing they can do is going to bring it back? Well, what do you do in a death spiral? The thesis of this presentation that I am now giving to you is that the administration is going to be getting a lot worse. You know, you corner an animal and you can't be surprised by how it acts. The only strategy this administration has had is vice signaling. So as things spiral downwards, they're going to vice signal a lot harder. Remember this? We're going to play it again in its entirety. But remember how Trump concluded a cabinet meeting the last week with a basically unrelated rant on Somali immigrants?
Yeah.
On Tim Walz, Mr. President, do you think he should resign over the
We're gonna
fraud
watch it
scandal
again.
in his state?
And who should?
Tim Walz, over the fraud scandal in his state.
Look, I think the man's a grossly incompetent man. I thought that from the day I watched J.D. destroy him in the debate. I was saying, who was more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent, and I had a man and a woman. I thought she was very incompetent too, but now she's leading the field, and I think she's leading the field in this for the nomination. Anyway, look, that's up to them. That's up to the Democrats. You know, the problem with them is they have really bad policy. And I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want them to change it necessarily. Because I want to run against it. Whether it's not going to be me, it's going to be somebody that's going to probably sitting at this table. Could be a couple of people sitting at this
We saw this already? Yes, that's why I said I'm going to play it again. You have to pay attention.
table. Could be a couple of people running together sitting at this table, you know, but I want them to win.
The reason I want to play the clip in its entirety is because I think it's kind of shocking, not only how bad it gets, but also how out of nowhere the sentiment gets. You know what I mean? Like how unprompted it is.
Because we've done a great job for this country, and I want that to be carried forward. And you know, I think we have a tremendous bench, really a tremendous bench. But no, I think that Walz is a grossly incompetent man. There's something wrong with him. Okay, there's something wrong with him. And when you look at what he's done with Somalia, which is barely a country, you know, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. There's no structure. And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America, is a bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. But when I watch what is happening in Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, or however many lakes they have, they got a lot of lakes, but this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off, and now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country.
What the heck is he talking about? You might remember he was asked a question about Walz over in Minnesota. This whole rambling answer, he turns it himself onto Somalis. Somalis have become the new target of this administration. They have kind of this like revolving door strategy with ethnic groups where it's like, today it's the Venezuelans, before it was the Haitians, you know, there's always a group. Why though? Because this is fascist ideology at its core. The distinction between an in-group and an out-group, you know, that's all they have. It is the main way they build their coalition, and now that they're in a death spiral, now that the elections have gone terribly for them, now that they know they're not going to be able to rebuild that popularity, doing this but more is going to be their main strategy forward. I guarantee you that someone, probably Miller, is advising Trump here on being more aggressive against Somalis specifically. Funnily enough, this has actually led to a huge, I guess, like meme resurgence or whatever, like a popular meme of Somalis pretending to be or act like Israelis to legitimize their presence in Minnesota. You know, this land was promised to us 3,000 years ago. Unearthed video of George Washington first colonizing Minnesota, and it's like a skit and it's all Somali guys or whatever. There's a whole bunch of it. It's funny, and it's kind of difficult for the mainstream media to get mad about it, or like conservative pundits to get mad about it, because it would, in so doing, they would kind of draw attention to how ridiculous Israelis sound when they defend what they're doing. But anyway,
Is no good for a reason.
how long until they scapegoat ethnic groups no one knows about? Dog, nobody in America knows about ethnic groups already. America believes in race, not ethnicity. For the most part, Americans can't tell the difference. You think Americans can tell the difference between Somalis and other groups? This is an attack against black people broadly, much in the same way that the anti-Haitian stigma was, or how anti-Venezuelan stigma was overwhelmingly just an anti-Latin thing, you know?
Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Elon Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country.
So this is insane, right? I mean, this is like a heavy wave of directed racism against an ethnic group that outside of Minnesota basically doesn't exist and nobody cares about. There aren't many Somalians in America. Or Somali, sorry. He said Somalians earlier. There aren't many Somalis in America. It's not like a super fucking prominent it's not like Mexicans or whatever. There are lots of Mexicans. There are only so many Somalis in America. Very, very directed. And none of it was prompted in the question. It's just stream of consciousness, which again makes me think that he's being directed to do this, or at the very least, people are having conversations with him. They are going to be doing this more and more. This is from 8 days ago. What I'm about to show you is from yesterday.
Prisons are emptied into our country, right? Where we have people from all over the world being dumped into our country, the people that aren't wanted in their countries, by the way. I think that's a great, like Somalia. Welcome. Do we have any individuals from Somalia in the group? Please raise your hand. That's from Minnesota, you know. That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam with one of the dumbest governors ever in history. I love this Elon Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little shing, the little turban. I love her. She comes in, does nothing but bitch. She's always complaining. She comes from a country where, I mean, it's considered about the worst country in the world, right? They have no military, they have no nothing, they have no parliament. They don't know what the hell the word parliament means. They have nothing. They have no police. They police themselves. They kill each other all the time. I love it. She comes to our country, and she's always complaining about the Constitution allows me to do this. We ought to get her the hell out. She married her brother in order to get
again, like, I think there's something distinct about this, because for the most part, the anti-Venezuelan craze from this administration has been directed as part of a broader project, a stigmatization of border control, that kind of stuff. This anti-Somali shit came out of fucking nowhere and has been directed largely by him. The rest, of course, the rest of the admin has picked up on it, so now they're repeating it. But I think that this is part of a deliberate strategy, and I don't think it's a coincidence. This happened right after they got trashed in the 2025 elections, you know? Holy shit, we are losing. We are losing badly. You know what we need? We need another one of those the Haitians are eating the pets myths. Remember? Because that was just like this. That was also completely out of nowhere. There was no like broader narrative it was playing into. It was just very specifically, let's take this ethnic minority and just make them the highlight of the next month. It's all they have. The vice signaling is only going to ramp up, you know? It is quite literally, yeah, the turning the racism dial and looking back at the audience to see how they respond to it. All this stuff does is radicalize moderates and liberals even more against the admin and its positions. Oh yeah, I want to make it clear. I don't think this is going to work. See, the fact that America is so fixated on race but not ethnicity means there's this weird double speak where Trump can say whatever he wants about Somalis, but he couldn't say blacks, even though that's what his entire audience is reading into this as, right? So he couldn't. He just couldn't. You know, they have to engage in these to an American, like weird esoteric form of racism. Because again, in America, we don't really care much about like ethnic groups. And again, where are there Somalis? You know, just in Minnesota based, there's not that many of them. Whatever. This isn't going to work, man. Like all the people who would be animated to vote by racism already vote for Trump. They have 100% market capture in that demographic. There is no American who was anti-Trump before this, but is hearing this now and goes, yeah, you're right, fuck those Somalis, and then goes and votes for Trump. That's just not, it's not a group of people that exists. So I don't think it's going to work. I do think it might make the country a lot worse, a lot quicker, though. I mean, I guess we'll see how, how much it does. The Mexicans I know do hate Somalis. Any Mexicans you know who have the weird, hateful animus in their heart enough to hate Somalis specifically already voted for Trump in 2024. I'm just saying this isn't going to build out a coalition, okay? This is, well, let me let him finish.
Right? She married her brother. Can you imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Beautiful. She's a beautiful person. If I married my sister to get my citizenship.
I mean, you did kind of talk about fucking your daughter that one time.
Do you think I'd last for about 2 hours, or would it be something less than that? She married her brother to get in. Therefore, she's here illegally. She should get the hell out. Throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain. So now, and we have...
He wouldn't last 2 hours with his sister. He wouldn't last 2 minutes inside his daughter, I bet, because he'd be so into it. Sorry. Yeah, that's the spiel. The fact that this is going to pull... You should be sorry. I know, I'm sorry. The fact... -4. Weren't there like 200 people at this rally? I mean, Does anyone else think it's really funny that all of this is playing over footer saying Trump delivers remarks on the economy? It's like that's the joke, right? Sir, what's your plan for pulling MAGA's reputation out of the toilet and addressing the numerous economic concerns people have? Well, have I got a story for you? I didn't see that till now. It disappears into the foreground. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work in their favor long term, but it's going to be pretty scary for a while. I wanted to conclude this because this also, okay, so first of all, other MAGA affiliated people are picking up on this.
Well, let's look at, Ilhan Omar, who was voted into Congress by, a large group of people from Somalia who are in Minnesota, which is really far from Somalia, or Mamdani, who was voted to be mayor. But
it is a great cosmic irony that Elon Musk is literally a foreigner who moved here illegally and used his vast wealth to manipulate our elections to destroy the American values of freedom and democracy, you know? Classic. Maybe they have a point. What does this shirt say? I can't say it on YouTube.
By a majority of people who are not born in America.
Also, Elon's dad actually had a kid with his daughter. Yes, Elon's dad groomed and raped a young girl who was essentially his adopted daughter. Yeah, and has had kids with her. Which kind of explains how he is what he is. Yeah, guys, you can go look up, what's his name? Elon Musk? And even his dad hates it. Yeah, his dad thinks Elon's a failure, which, you know, broken clock and all that. Errol Musk, thank you. Errol, what an odd name. I wonder if that's a common Dutch name. Well, anyway, I wanted to conclude this because I think that the vitriol from the administration is going to get a lot worse. Like, I think the killing Venezuelan civilians illegally is going to get worse. I think that the open racism is going to get worse. I don't think that their ability to act on it is going to get much worse because the administration seems to be pretty, like, decisively locked into a position where they can't get anything done at this point. Trump might as well be a lame duck president with how much he seems to be able to get done, even through the administrative branch these days. But you are going to see a lot more vice signaling. To conclude all that, this is a post from the official Homeland Security Twitter account where they multiple times use the term sodomite officially as the Department of Homeland Security. Now, this doesn't actually do anything other than tell you that the people running the DHS are Nazis, run by a 20-year-old. It is pretty funny, I guess. It's kind of like, I don't know, the impotent cursing and screaming of somebody who can't do anything else. I mean, they can't make being gay illegal. Even if they tried to, it would fail miserably, but sodomite is not a synonym for soccer coach. I think I don't really particularly care about what they're referring to here. The actual details of this event are meaningless to me. Only the language they chose to use. Vice signaling, vice signaling, vice signaling. Everything is vice signaling. Guys, look at how Hitler we are. Look at how Hitler we are. It makes me think, like, a lot of the people at the DHS are probably the people who Nick Fuentes makes fun of when he gets $35 donations from them, you know? Hey, Nick, what should I teach my kid when I homeschool them? I don't know, Holocaust class? Yeah, how about math and reading? Yeah, that's Nick talking to the DHS. Another example of this is them making MLK Day no longer a holiday for national parks. Yes, they made it so that national parks are free on Trump's birthday, but not on MLK Day or Juneteenth. Just like, why just parks? Because that way they can do it without Congress. Just a shockingly, like, needless. It doesn't do anything. Like, all it does is make people mad because it's like a joke. This would be like a resist lib post in 2016. You know what I mean? Right after Trump wins, they'd be like, I bet Trump's going to make his own birthday a holiday, and he's going to make MLK Day no longer a holiday. And it's like, okay, well, here you are. It's beyond satire. It is. I think stuff like this should be viewed as a symbol of impotence and ineptitude, in my opinion. You know, if they could do the big stuff, they would do the big stuff. The main thing you have to worry about right now is that ICE is still running a fucking terror rampage across the country. Though, it's also worth remembering they are losing a lot of the time. Like, a lot of the people they arrest get released, you know? All of the federal holding facilities are full. For the most part, they're just brown shirts terrorizing people.